To all of this and more, House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy. Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Congressman, I should say.
No, call me Kevin. Oh, call me Kevin.
Great to see you this morning. Let's talk about this new Quinnipiac poll. It shows Donald Trump's dominance is not going anywhere. In fact, he's built on it. Over the past few weeks, he's gone up 3 points, despite the various controversies that have cropped up over the past few weeks in terms of his exaggerations about, say, the refugee number or about what happened on 9/11. How do you explain it?
Well, he has those voters that support him will support him through and through. But I think you've got to look at attributes. What attributes are people looking for? Donald shows he does show strength. He's an entrepreneur, and he's willing to change Washington. So the voters are looking for a lot of those attributes. But also in that poll, what I read a lot into is the rise of Rubio and Senator Cruz. I think you're going to see those two continue to rise because they're fresh faces. They also meet a lot of those attributes that Donald has in the aspect. And I think this race is still a long way away from anybody winning it. And as we know, between now and Christmas, there won't be that much change. But come January, there's going to be some really fast movement. And anybody who wants to be president has to lay out a very clear vision for America of what the future holds. But also, this election is going to be a lot about the foreign policy and the strength of America around the world.
Let's talk about a couple of the controversies that Donald Trump has caused over the past few weeks, particularly the stuff about what happened on 9/11 with people celebrating. That has been debunked, certainly in the numbers that he was talking about. He has exaggerated the number of refugees that he claims the U.S. will be bringing into the country, Syrian refugees in particular. Are you comfortable with the campaign that he's running?
Look, he's running a campaign, and each individual has to run their own. They run it from their own style, and one thing, if you watch of what Donald Trump does, it's nothing conventional. But this is an unconventional year, so I would never try to predict of what the voters want to see. But I just believe that this is not the end today.
But I think in this poll. But Congressman, it's beyond unconventional. I mean, people say that there are elements of it that are dishonest. Are you personally comfortable with watching how his campaign is unfolding?
He has his name on the ballot for how he wants to run his campaign. I have not endorsed him. I have not endorsed anybody. But I think there's a lot of people out there that can be president and be a very good president. So you want to have that debate. But I think what American voters are for, they're going to look for who has a clear vision for the future. And that's going to make people look more difficult and to at one point hold them harder accountable of what they're saying. So I think come January, these polls will look different.
The New York Times has a report out in the past few hours about how uncomfortable Donald Trump's campaign is making the establishment Republicans. He has a whole host of party leaders who are talking about what they fear if Donald Trump becomes the nominee, and they fear that it will have a ripple effect, and it will hurt congressional races, and it will hurt Senate races, and it will hurt local races. Let me read you just one little portion. This is from the chairman of the Ohio Republican Party, Matt Borges, who says if he, meaning Trump, carries this message, meaning his inflammatory rhetoric, into the general election in Ohio, we'll hand this election to Hillary Clinton and then try to salvage the rest of the ticket. Do you share those concerns?
Look, you know, as a Republican, I believe in Reagan's 11th commandment. I'm not here to debate what's wrong with the Republican candidates, because I will tell you, from all those candidates, I think they would be a better president than where Hillary Clinton would be. So I think what we need to see is what is the clear vision for where America's going to go, and how are we going to bring America back and have the strength and the economic drive of what we've seen in the past, of what we want to have. And regardless of whether somebody makes somebody uncomfortable, I think the American people want to see something shake up in Washington. So whoever is running, and that could be a Senator Rubio, they can shake things up as well.
Let's talk about something that everyone on both sides of the aisle is interested in, and that is fighting ISIS and defeating them. As you know, Secretary Ash Carter has talked about sending up to 200 more special ops into Iraq to try to combat ISIS. Are you comfortable with that plan?
Yes, I'd actually a little more. I trust in our military leaders. I looked at the chairman of Joint Chiefs just yesterday in a hearing. He says we have not contained ISIS. We've got a lot further to go. I want to see a plan that doesn't contain them but defeats them. And I think that's what you've seen come out of the House in the bills that we've had here, sending to the president. We want to see a strategy that actually defeats ISIS. And this is a start.
One of the bills that you're talking about is the Intelligence Authorization Act. You're trying to get more money devoted to gathering intelligence.
Well, that intelligence, as we watched from all the challenges, 9/11 and others, are the real gap or the vulnerabilities that America had. We just passed the intelligence authorization yesterday on the floor in a bipartisan large vote. So there's a unique opportunity. But there's other things the House is working on. I chair a task force of the chairman on counterterrorism and homeland security. We dealt with that refugees bill just a couple weeks ago that was bipartisan. And now we're looking at the visa waiver program, those gaps and vulnerabilities in that. You're going to see a bill roll out later this week and pass next week as well. Make sure our homeland is safe.
Congressman, this is the first time that we've spoken to you since all of the drama unfolded about the speakership. And I'm wondering how you feel today about how everything unfolded. Obviously, some of your comments were blamed in sort of derailing you, the comments made about Hillary Clinton and the Benghazi committee. So how are you feeling today about what ended up happening?
I feel very good. Remember, I decided that I was not best for the speaker's position, and I think now you're going to find that that became true. Look at everything that's moving on the floor. Speaker Ryan is one of my best friends. We work with very closely together. He is the only member I called when I made the decision I was no longer going to run because he was giving my nomination speech. And I said, Paul, you are the person that can bring everybody together. And he's proven that he had. And I think we've seen a structural change inside this House for the better. Look, timing is everything in politics. I didn't run with the idea that I had to be Speaker. I ran with the idea that we have to change America. And I believed by stepping back, it would actually putting the country first. And I think history will prove it. I just wish the whole country didn't have to watch me do it. I could have done it in another manner.
Congressman Kevin McCarthy, thanks so much for being on New Day.
Thanks for having me.